I have broken um, the third mantra and shit that I was taught, in that underestimating your opponent is the surest way to oblivion. And the only thing that has really saved me is heaven. Because I've had to think long and hard about it the last few days. And I dismissed Michael Aquino that day that I was at his front door in San Francisco. Because it it was so pathetic that I completely just in my own mind, not even realizing it, just dismissed it. And it did not dawn on me, because I am sometimes not the sharpest tool in the shed, that he would just do what he always does and go hide in the shadows and strike out in secret. That's what they all do, you know? And it never occurred to me until just of late. And I'm saying that all of this was presented to me. It's not like I just came up with this on the own. Heaven had to have come and spoken to me. Because all the stuff that I'm saying is stuff that I said before. I mean, I laughed about Aquino, you know, committing suicide and then resurrecting himself, and 3 years later deciding he was right the first time and committing suicide again. I kind of compartmentalized that, and never did it occur to me that he was involved the whole time. That's the reason why Lucien Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, does all of his stupid bullshit. He's not taking from Michael Aquino's playbook. He's being directed by Michael Aquino, and was. You know, Aquino hid in the dark like he always does. And same with the Dead Isaac Kappy Club, you know? There's a reason why the Slime King told me that he was the one who did the last interview with Michael Aquino. There's a reason why. And the fact that this whole he committed suicide twice, 3 years apart, just tells me that it's all bogus. The whole fucking thing is bogus in a way that is so obvious, but that's what they do. It's so obvious, people are going to discredit it because they play on people's cognitive dissonance, because a lot of people have lost their critical reasoning capabilities. And, but this is what happened. And unless you believe that a man can commit suicide twice, you have to consider the fact that both times might be bullshit. And why? I think that that's the whole direction. That was the connection. I knew that because, come on, Michael Aquino was protected. All the shit that he was accused of, they said that he was protected on the grounds of national security. Obviously, that's government. You know, if he's protected on grounds of national security, does not say that it's government. You know, he was working exactly like I said, with the CIA. Doug Mesner, aka Lucien Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, he's working with the CIA. If you believe Shane Bugbee, you know, the Slime King and the Sawman are both military. And it's all dealing with this child trafficking bullshit. All the stuff that needs to be exposed and investigated and stopped. But things are heating up here. Just this morning, I had to send a video of some weird person in their car doing weird shit to my law officials and authorities. Then, as I was doing laundry, I saw a dude I had never seen before sitting on one of the chairs in the complex next door who didn't belong there. And the reason why I know they didn't belong there is because a person who lived there came out with their dogs and the person scared the shit out of them. And then the minute that happened, they left. And I watched the whole thing. You know? Do I think that something's up? I would be an idiot to think otherwise. Because now, the fact that I know you're still fucking alive, Aquino, changes everything. And not only do I know that you're alive, but I know I have pretty much come to the conclusion you've been behind all this shit all along. You've just done what you've always done, hidden the fucking shadows. Because I knew Mesner wasn't smart enough to do it. I didn't understand who was behind it. And Lucien made the news again. Ask me how. Okay, I'm asking you how. Because the last time was at Christmas when they did that weird Baphomet statue. And then some dude came and cut his head off. And I think that was all designed because of the shit that I was doing. They wanted to distract because they always want to control the fucking narrative, you know? And all that shit happened last Christmas. It's just amazing how it works. And it's because they're using that satanic temple after school daycare bullshit to target kids, you know? It's way worse than what Shane Bugbee thought it was. Way worse than what Shane Bugbee thought it was, you know? The thing about it, Aquino, is that you have to know that you have to know about the other side. It is cool to me that now I realize that you were involved and I can deal with you because I thought that I had lost the chance to deal with you. And I'm going to give you an example of exactly what you taught me how to do. You taught me how to be a vessel. But through shamanism, heaven taught me how to be a doorway. And on the other side, there is no death. Energy is neither created nor destroyed. Our souls exist. And Jay-Z and Beyonce sent a C&D to Pierre Morgan because Jaguar Wright said Puff Daddy and Beyonce on Jay-Z are working with, you got it, Lucien Greaves. Wow. Wow. Oh, I would love that. I would love that. The thing about it is that it's all coming out. It's all coming out. That's the reason why I have all this weird shit happening at my house. Because they're desperate. They're desperate. And now that I have, yes, please share the clip and tag me after that, you know? I usually don't like to go look at mentions and I try not to anymore, but I will. Or just send me the link at, you know, send it to me at david@davidshurter.com. That's the best way to get to me, you know? And I would love to see, I'm not surprised, because that's how all of this shit is working. This morning I woke up and started thinking about it, and I thought, what are the chances that Michael Aquino, who was definitely alive, was working with Jeffrey Epstein? You know, what were the chances? Because Aquino was doing the same thing in Franklin, and of course the stuff that was happening in Omaha with Franklin was also happening in Houston. And so at the exact same time, Exactly. About 100%. Thank you, Gov. About 100%. The dude's not dead. He's not dead. You know? And notice how I've told everyone. When I was in Washington, I was told by someone in the Russian or the Canadian Mounties, the police there, someone sent me an email saying that Aquino was about ready to get busted because they had raided two of his compounds in British Columbia. And right after that, all of a sudden, there were two huge fires in British Columbia. And guess where they were? You know, coincidentally enough, they were right there. So, but notice how when that happened, all of the fucking right feet stopped washing onto the beach. Notice the coincidence of timing there, you know? Is it Greaves or Grange? It is Greaves, who's of the Satanic Temple, but they have so many fucking names that they go by. It's like they believe they're Legion. And I think inside their own head they think they're Legion. I think that they pretend that they're DID or something. They have all these different personalities that aren't real because they're all aware of them. But it's like email. They have so many sock puppet accounts. You think you're dealing with an army of them, and really you're not. You're not. There's not, at the core group, there's not that many. And the fact that Michael Aquino now knows that I know that he's not dead, things are going to start heating up because he's fucking hiding. Why do you think they released the fact that he committed suicide twice? And why would they do it a second time? Why wouldn't they just refer to it the first time? Because they're panicking. The thing about it, Aquino, and this is directly to you, your group trained me to be a vessel. I was to be a vessel. But like I said, through shamanism, heaven taught me how to be. I'm not so much a doorway as I am a doorman. That's what I am in heaven. That's why I'm so not in control. I'm just able to consciously do what I was trained to do, to go open doorways on the other side. That's how it works for me. And because death doesn't exist on the other side, you, my fucking idiot, dumbass master, do you realize how many fucking people, enemies you have on the other side who want to take you down? All I had to do was open a door. And all the doorways that I've opened to heaven, I've only asked for one thing. There's only one thing I can require. The doorways that I open, heaven can come and go as they please. But the one caveat I have given is no mercy. None. No mercy. Your group will be given the same amount of mercy you have offered me and others, which is none. It's not like I haven't said that. That's why you can't beat what's coming to you, because you're surrounded in ways you can't even imagine, and they're whispering in your fucking ear. They do the same shit to you as they do to me, only they're a lot meaner to you. To me, they actually end up giving me information. The fact now that it's come to my attention that not only are you still alive, but you've been behind everything, boy, don't I feel dumb. You know, I feel dumb, but I'm aware now. That's the gift that I have, because heaven doesn't, when I need to know, I know. And The fact that you're afraid is the only explanation as to why you guys are trying to insist that you committed suicide twice. Because that's how you did it. You know, everyone remembers this last time, and a lot of people who follow me remember when I came out the first time. And the only reason why I know is because all those people from supposedly the Temple of Set came at me demanding that I apologize to Lilith. For what? Saying the truth? You know? But you did exactly what you always do when after I left your doorway and you wouldn't face me head on. And I dismissed you thinking, oh, well, he's not, you know. It's the same thing I did with Lucien Greaves. Doug Masner, Lucien Greaves, who came to me as chief handler on Twitter, offering me any amount of money I wanted if I would just stop. And I told him to go fuck himself. But I dismissed him too, because of course I thought, well, fuck. You know, this isn't any fun anymore. And it's never been fun, but I sure do like a challenge. You know? Hey, I'm a woman, I resemble that remark. I'm not, sorry, I'm not even reading the conversation because I'm just going on and on. Courts and attorneys already called me dead. I live in small town. Small town watches this. The people around me watch this shit. You know? And that's just, they know what's going on. This is all about child trafficking. You know? Oh, okay, not you, David. Saki said something. They're talking, because that's what I like about this, is that I can just ramble on and you guys can talk and entertain yourselves. You know, multitasking is definitely a female thing, I think. You know, it is a bow tie day. Just because I know that it is difficult to understand the shit that is happening with what I'm going through. And now that I have come to the conclusion, and Aquino, I've already sent the shit to you. There's no way for it to stop. Once I become aware, all I have to do, and I formally journeyed this morning. And I know that all of the shit that's going on, you know, God only knows what kind of bounty you guys have put on my fucking head. But let me guarantee you, the least of you count. It won't make any fucking difference. Aquino looks like Eddie Munster grown up. That's what he looks like. He looks like Eddie Munster grown up. And then he was wearing that weird-ass Merlin outfit. And then look at what Aquino was doing in the late 80s and the early 90s. And then look at what Lucien Greaves does. You know, it's the same fucking thing. And it's all meant as a distraction while they hide out in the open. But there's nothing hidden on the other side. And heaven is here. All of heaven is here. When it's written in the end that the dead will rise, let me assure you that has already happened. I know the dumbasses have it in their fucking heads that there's some sort of zombie apocalypse coming because it was the flesh that came to life. That's not the fucking way it works. Spiritually, on the other side, there is no death. It doesn't exist. And we simply go to the other side when we die. And so it's not like the dead, you know, can you go and have a conversation with them like you do on this side? Fuck no. You know, it's way harder. It's way it's not the same at all, you know? But the thing about all of it is that all of heaven is here and they wanted a war with heaven. And that's all I'm doing is trying to help with the war of heaven. You know? See Dolores Cannon. Gov says there is no death, 100%. See Dolores Cannon. Energy neither can be created nor destroyed. That's the whole thing. There is no death. On the other side, there is no death. They've already lost. Heaven is healed. I can't begin to tell everyone. Aquino, you will understand because you know what you taught me. You trained me not to be afraid of demons, to look at them as if they were my brothers. And it worked. I did look at the fallen as if they were my brothers. And years and years and years ago, that's why I tell you, I was more than aware of them, and I couldn't understand why they were letting your group treat them like performing monkeys. They do whatever the fuck it is they want to do, they enjoy it, and then they end up helping these idiots. And that's what I didn't understand why they were doing. And as I have said before, Aquino, your sacrifices meant nothing. Just because you found people, not one of you actually sacrificed anything, ever. You killed people, great. You did what you fucking wanted to do, that which you enjoyed, that which made you feel powerful. That's what you did. Where was the sacrifice in any of that? That's why I told the fallen. You sacrificed nothing, got the rewards, but when push came to shove, not only would you honor your allegiances and that which you promised, you would actively betray this shit. And so what I was told, heaven and the fallen, was prove it. I was the perfect example. Would you do what your group pledged to do to me? Even though it wasn't meant for me, it was still pledged to me. Would you do what you pledged to do, or would you betray the very spiritual principalities that gave you all of what you have? And guess what? I was fucking right. Because not only would you not honor what you've pledged, but when it doesn't go your way, your group will actively betray your allegiances and what you've pledged. That's what you've done. I needed to show heaven. That's the reason why I had to sacrifice myself. That's why I had to put myself out there and get you to rise up to strike me down. Because I needed to show that you wouldn't honor your allegiances, and when push came to shove, you would actively betray them. And you have. And you've lost. You've lost. The fallen that protected you and enabled you, none of them can do that anymore. Those that didn't go back to heaven have been now claimed by the dark. And in their eternity, they get to experience their own handiwork as they dream they are men, not angels. The next time they're in their nightmares, they get to experience their own handiwork, but they're men. That's how it works. The justice that heaven is giving all of you is perfect in every way. It's actually divine justice. It's just like the best you could ever imagine. And you're supposed to be brought down by your own devices. Why I'm here. because you trained me, dude. You trained me. Your group pledged your souls to me, even though they weren't meant to me. And you know, it's so much fun to be able to talk to you in these videos now, because now I can talk about shit that most people couldn't understand. But you know exactly what the fuck I'm saying. Exactly what the fuck I'm saying. The training that you guys gave me, and all you have to do to get your fucking soul back, dude, is go straight into the heart of the fucking darkness and take it from, I call him he who dwells within the dark. He's an angel, but to all of you, he's worse than any fucking devil you could ever conceptualize. You're not gonna like him. You know, I can guarantee that. I was afraid I was gonna die and I was gonna be stuck with the bonds to your souls. I didn't know what the fuck to do, and I didn't want to be bound to that. That's the reason why I took it into the dark and gave it to he who dwells in the dark. And I have said this repeatedly in that journey. The instant he took a hold of those bonds, the darkness went from being a place that I cast all of my hate and anger and rage for well over 2 decades before. It went from being a place to a thing. And that is what is here to claim you. And if you think you can beat it, it'll be fun to watch. It will. It will be fun to watch. Because if you think that you are not in my mind all the time, and have most of my life, you know, your group's obsession with me is nothing compared to my focus on your group, you know. And I look at you all. To me, in all of this, there's only 2 sides. You're either on God's side, or you're gonna get claimed by the fucking dark. That's how it works. I've said that repeatedly, over and over and over and over again. But you don't fucking listen, but that's kind of key to the whole thing. As I've said before, in the end, the moment after you have taken your last breath of all the shit that I have said throughout all the years on all the videos and my blog and the interviews I've done and all of that, I only want you to remember 4 little words. I told you so. That's all I care that you remember what I told you. You know, I told you so. They didn't anticipate their victims to be stronger. And the thing about it is that opening the door to their victims and letting their victims at them has just been as satisfying as all get out. You know? And I don't even, that's the reason why I don't even have to leave the confines of my own house. And Aquino knows that better than anybody, because he's the fucking one who trained me. You know? He knows exactly what I'm talking about. It's going to get way worse from here. Way worse. And it doesn't make any difference who you fucking have sicked on me. It doesn't make a fucking bit of difference. It makes no difference what happens to me. Well, that's not necessarily true. It will make a difference. You're not going to like what it, because chances are good that when I'm taking my last breath, I'm going to be hating your group intensely. Worse than even probably what I do now. That's what I'm guessing. You know, I could be wrong because I'm not a soothsayer. I don't get to see what's ahead of me. I sure the fuck don't get to see this. I just have to do what I do on a daily basis, you know, which is expose all of this shit. That's all I care about. But it explains how Algona police were all involved. It explains how my sheriff here in town is all involved. Because it's not Doug Mesner. And it's not the Dead Isaac Kappy Club. It's Michael Aquino. It's always been Michael Aquino. And it's still now. They don't. The thing about it is that we're at the end. We're at the end. We're about to get hit with a huge geomagnetic storm, and this morning the sun just shot out another X1 flare. And so all of this stuff, death is coming. Everyone's going to realize the truth in what I'm saying eventually, but only those who are able to save themselves will have eyes to see, ears to hear, and brains to fucking comprehend. But the majority, unfortunately, the majority are going to get claimed. That's how it's going to work. Good morning from the San Francisco coast. The sad part about it is that San Francisco, especially the weather of San Francisco, of all the places that I've been, it's my most favorite. I think I would really like Ireland because it rains all the time and it's foggy all the time. And that's my favorite kind of weather, you know. Getting blasted does suck. The directed energy weapons, they're just using them to take people out. You know, they're just using. But I've told this story before. The second time that they hit me, because the first time I went to the hospital and the second time I went into the hospital, it was all over these fucking weapons. But the second time that they were hitting me, not only did I upload my book onto my blog, but on the news, there was all kinds of reports that the president of Iran, his name, I keep trying to remember his name. Mohammed it starts with an A. But they were showing news reports where the dude couldn't sleep and he couldn't eat and he was so weak that they were having to carry him around. And they were showing news reports of them carrying the president of Iran around. And so I went online and found every single email address of every single Iranian official I could find. And I just simply sent them a mass email and told them exactly what was happening to him, exactly how it was working, explained the symptoms, and told them, nope, that's not it. That's not it. Abdullah Jabbar, I can't remember his name. I always have to look it up. But I told them what was going on and that what they were looking for was someone, boots on the ground. Someone had that fucking weapon and they were close to it. And I went into the hospital, stayed in the hospital a week, got out. It was about a week after I'd gotten out of the hospital. I was watching the news, and Iran had it on the news that they had found and executed a spy. And I think that it was connected because the dude was fine after that, you know? When I get done with this, I'll actually put it in the description. And I always put stuff on my blog, so I'll put it on there too. Because I know his name. I just, no, he was dark-haired, not bad looking. If he wasn't the president of Iran, he was the leader of Iran, though. And this had to have been, I know his first name was Mohammed. It starts with A. I'll remember it. But chances are Iran has these weapons now too. That's what's causing the Havana syndrome. You know, that's exactly what's causing the Havana syndrome. And so it's interesting. It is interesting. And so, and it's only a matter of time before the sun fries the satellites and the power grids. This is all coming down. And then can you imagine not having any electricity and having this fucking weather hit and not knowing that it's going to hit? You know, that's what's going to happen. I think that it's boots from the ground. When I leave my house, now it's gotten to the point where if I'm in my car, it's in my car. So I'm sure that there's something that they have connected to my car. But usually when I leave my house, that's the reason why I know it's not tinnitus or tinnitus or however the fuck they call it. Because when I leave my house, I don't hear it. It doesn't bother me. I don't have it. I used to do that when I was in Washington. If I would leave my house, for the first 30 minutes of leaving my house, I would actually get nauseous and be sick. And then I would go back to being fine, back to normal. And I can't just have tinnitus in my fucking house, especially in my 2 beds. You know, it's worse if I lay down. It's terrible in my bed. But they get into my house all the time. They do all kinds of fucked up shit. I have clocks that chime. So they fucking change the time. You know, so I know that they're in the house. That's the stupid shit that they do. You know, that's the stupid shit that they do. And who can you tell? You know, it's just fucking constant harassment. But who I call the government dude, he's gone. Bye-bye. Gone. And so now there's all other kind of shit, you know. But of course, nothing is connected to anything else, you know. It's just that we live in really bad days. And the only way that this is going to get attacked and stopped is through God. It's not solely anything to do with 5G. I'm not saying that 5G can't be the, but it was way before 5G was even a fucking thing. Exactly. You know, they came out in 2006 and said they had these weapons and they were going to use them on American citizens. What, you think they weren't using them on people before that moment? You know? That's just it. 5G is just an upgraded version of things they've already been using. And do they have satellites that have fucking lasers in them? Yeah, they have fucking. They have come out and said they had shit. You know? I don't understand where we've gotten. When people tell you stuff that they have and all of that stuff, why do you tell yourselves that it can't possibly be true and it doesn't happen and blah, blah. I don't understand. If they're telling you, they're telling you. You know? And maybe you should take them at their word. That they are who they say they are, and they have what they say they have, and they're going to do what they, I mean, obviously you have to have critical reasoning, because this group wants everyone to believe that there's so much more than what they are. Michael Aquino wants everyone to think that he's like this diabolical, fucking amazing, powerful, just the devil himself to deal with it. You want to know my personal experience with the fucking dude? He's an old dude who's afraid to answer the motherfucking door when you're knocking on his door, but he's big and powerful when he's hiding in the fucking shadows and has the upper hand. But otherwise, he's just a fucking pathetic bitch. That's what I see, you know? But they want you all to think that they're so bad and so powerful and so scary, you know? Yeah, they can kill people, but they really are fucking dumbasses, you know? And trust me, I've dealt with a lot of them. A lot of them. For the most part, they're fucking dumbasses. And those that aren't dumbasses are so consumed by their own fucking egos and superiority, like the Slime King. They think every move they make is fucking brilliant. When really, when you look at it, because of their ego, they don't realize that some of the shit they do is not only not brilliant, it's subpar. It works against them. But we're, told, yeah, they definitely have someone said that they were walking and someone blasted them. They definitely have hand shit. They have hand shit. They have little fucking guns, just like they had heart attack guns. And you want to know what our government said? We don't have heart attack guns. Those aren't real. Those aren't real. Until it came out that, yeah, they fucking are real. Now it's not even conspiracy theory. Now everyone knows that they have little dart guns that shoot out poison. It's just people want to think that the world is what they want to think it is because they want to live like that. There's no pre-plan for Milton. They're not in control of these fucking hurricanes, people. They're not in control of the fucking sun. The sun is inundating us with so much fucking heat and so much radiation. We get hurricanes anyway. What's causing the problems, the reason why these hurricanes go from a Hurricane 1 to a Hurricane 5 overnight is because the Gulf is hotter than it's ever been. Because the Gulf is shallow. For the most of the part of the ocean, it is shallow. And it's hitting that fucking hot water and it is fueling these things. That's what ends up happening. It doesn't make any difference how warm the sun is. We are being inundated with fucking X-flares and CMEs constantly, and we have no magnetic field right now protecting us. They can affect the weather. Yes, they can. They can affect a lot of things. Can they control the shit? No, they can't control it. When I say that Frankenstein always loses control of the monster, I'm not just talking about myself. There are a lot of patents for weather control. HARP, yes. You want to know what HARP is? HARP is nothing more than Reagan's global defense thing. They built it in Alaska. Do you want to know what HARP does? It superheats the upper atmosphere of the fucking planet because it was meant as a missile defense mechanism, making the atmosphere so hot that if someone hit us with a nuclear bomb, it would explode in the ocean because it would hit that heat. That's what HARP is. Who could have thought that fucking superheating the fucking upper atmosphere might have some bad effects on the fucking planet? That's what they do. They can do all kinds of shit. Can they control it? No, not really. And are they 100% sure of what they're doing and the effects? No, you're giving them way too much credit if that's what you think. No. HARP is not running right now because the ozone layer has built itself back up. And it's still classified. And I bet a lot of shit is in Colorado. And many sites have gone dark. Because they're tunneling. There's all kinds of shit underground. Where the fuck do you think they test the nuclear shit? It's underground. I love it when you yell at me. I'm sorry. I just get frustrated. You have to understand that some of the stuff that you guys are talking about is stuff that I have to deal with out here in Iowa. And let me tell you, where I live, they don't read books. They burn them. They're so controlled and consumed by the blinders of and the ignorance is just crazy. It's just crazy. We know what is classified when they just won't talk about it. Yes, like saying that Michael Aquino was protected under the grounds of national security and it was classified. So what the fuck does child abusing kids over and over and over, being a serial child abuser? And that's saying it lightly. That's protected by national security, you know? So what is it that needs to be secure about that? But people don't ask those questions. Never have. They're too busy watching him parade around in the 80s and 90s like fucking Merlin. Just like the whole shit with Doug Mesner. They're too busy watching him with his horned hat. But now that they're coming out and saying that I'm not surprised he's connected. This whole P. Diddy thing is all Hollywood. And what did they take Issac? What was Issac Kappy trying to expose? The Hollywood connection. That's why they were so threatened the minute I started talking about Issac Kappy. Because I'm sure they're aware of all of this shit. That they were aware of it. And so, is it all connected? Of course it's all connected. You know, of course it's all connected. All of their shit's coming out. There's no way to stop it. There's no way to stop it. Their victims want justice. They, you know, that's just it. Their victims want justice. And because of the shit that I was trying to do with the whole consciousness stuff and the whole psychic stuff, through shamanism, I was able to go open doorways. Let the shit right in, you know? Okay, you guys are having a conversation, but I'm not necessarily wanting to read that conversation. I appreciate you, Gov, because the stuff that I'm just, again, I think it would be fun to break bread with you. The stuff that you know. But all of their stuff is coming out. That's the reason why they're so upset. And I think that heaven is starting to tie up loose ends. That's the reason why I was aware, have become aware that Aquino is still fucking alive and has been underneath, you know. Shroom zooms and lets you see under the ground. See, that going into the past, that's a lot of what they considered remote viewing. I was trained in all of that, which is astral projection. It's just time and space, just like in your dream world when you're dreaming, doesn't exist. It doesn't exist when you think of the shit that I was trained, it didn't exist either. You know, when I tell you that I was told, you don't think out of the box. We were trained to think like there was no box. Everything is a possibility. You have to allow everything in. And I only did shrooms once, didn't have a clue what I was doing. I was working with her at a job and she came over with their boyfriend and they had gotten these 10 huge mushrooms. I was living in Florida. I was 20 at the time. And they showed up and none of us knew what we were doing. So I was just like, you know, I heard that you boil them, you make tea out of them. So 10 of these huge mushrooms that they got out of a fucking cow patty. We boiled these down for like an hour and a half. And then I said, and then we're supposed to mix Kool-Aid with it. So we mixed Kool-Aid with it. And each one of us had huge glasses of the nastiest fucking tasting shit you have ever tasted in your life. And I was living in an apartment in Panama City Beach. I didn't have any furniture at the time. I hadn't lived there very long and didn't have any furniture. The people that I was with got into a fight and left. So I was left alone in my empty apartment. And I came this close to killing myself that night. because I convinced myself in this fucking mind altering trip that I was in that somehow my apartment that was kind of right off of the beach in Florida had somehow been moved, and I was living in a New York City ghetto. And I was convinced that I was living in a New York City ghetto and I was never going to get out of this New York City ghetto. And had I not had, probably heaven sent an angel or something to me. Because in this whole thing of me convincing myself of that, something came to me and told me, why don't you just go to sleep? And then if you wake up the next morning and you're still in a New York City ghetto, then you can go from there and do whatever you think you're going to do. And so I went to sleep and I woke up the next morning going, phew, never going to do that again. Never did. I hate mushrooms. But I hate mushrooms, period. I won't eat mushrooms. And talk about a New York state of mind. It was terrible. The one and only. And I think we overdosed. I think that 10 mushrooms. When you look at what people eat to get off on mushrooms, they cut them and dry them. They're only eating small little pieces. And I mean, they brought 10 huge mushrooms. We had no fucking clue what we were doing. I was 20 years old. It was not my part of my world. It wasn't part of their world. And get out of the city, be in the wild, or at least a small city. See, I'm out in the country. Our DP 96 from the CIA is very informative to this conversation. That's why I say what I heard when I was in Washington. First of all, I know that John Brandeis lived right across the street from Charlie Manson. Right across the street. And I know that John Brandeis was heavily involved, not only what was going on in Hummel Park, but more importantly, what was also going on at Offutt Air Force Base with me as a kid and my training. So he lives right across the street from Charlie Manson. And there are people out on the West Coast who still are, because I have always gravitated to older people. I kind of like older people. They have more life experience, or especially when I was young. They were the ones that were interesting. They were the ones you could learn from. And I found, first of all, I was told that Charlie Manson was a super nice guy. Everyone thought he was the nicest guy. But the Sharon Tate was not, they didn't just come upon Sharon Tate and that house. That house was targeted. The reason why there were so many people there at the time was that they were manufacturing LSD, which was big on the West Coast at the time. And they were breaking into the CIA's stash on LSD. There was also, if I remember right, I don't remember his name, but there was a physician in the Air Force that they murdered his wife. He's gone to jail for it. I think he's still in jail for it. And he was saying that there was an LSD thing going on there with the government. And there was, I can't remember his name. I wish I could remember his name. That was years and years and years ago. And so I'm just considering that Charlie Manson was involved. He was at Boys Town. Considering that he was there, he had to have training. He had to have training. What I was told by people on the West Coast, and this is survivors, because you had to understand, I was doing the Seattle trauma conference thing with Pat Goodwin. And so I met a lot of people who had a lot of just interesting things to say. And they told me that in MK Ultra, Jim Jones, Billy Graham, and there was one other person that were all involved in the same MK Ultra. I can't remember. Again, I have some, but it's on my blog. I know it's on my blog. because that was stuff that I posted about. It's just stuff that survivors know a lot about the stuff that's going on. And whether or not I don't really get into all of the past, the history stuff, because what am concerned about is that it's all happening right now. This whole child trafficking shit needs to be exposed right now. And if this whole thing has been called out and they're sending me the clip, please do not forget to do that to me. Um, with Lucien Greaves, this shit is no wonder things are exploding. That was the thing I was missing, because this stuff has gotten just exponentially crazier where I stand. And the stuff that's coming at me has gotten stranger and weirder and more aggressive. And I couldn't understand what was fueling it, because I'm in the dark. I don't know what's being looked at and all of that. But what it's telling me is that things are being looked at. There was a reason why Doug Mesner came to me as chief handler on Twitter and offered me any amount of money that I wanted if I would just stop. And I said no. I should have said yes and just taken his money, because I couldn't have done anything. And fuck, I'm broke. It's what, the 10th, and I got hit with bills. Just, oh my God, but aren't we all? Not to mention food, and shit, things are skyrocketing. I only did LSD when I was a kid, 19, 20. When I went to Omaha, David Klotz and we tried LSD. And I did LSD probably in my life, probably 5 or 6 times. And I will say that every time I did it, it was a spiritual experience. Every time it brought me closer to God. And in a way that I was at a party where everyone was tripping on LSD. And so I ended up going in. I didn't do any drugs when I was a kid. None. I wasn't exposed to any drugs. I didn't smoke pot for the first time until I went to college. And all the rest of it, But I went to this party and was high on LSD and ended up starting to read the Bible, which freaked people out. But the people that I was with was just like, that's what he'll do, And so I hate coming down. That's why I don't do it now. I couldn't imagine what it would be now, because it leaves you with this icky chemical feel afterwards. And as an adult now, that's the whole reason why they want to say that I drink all the time, which is funny because I can't drink hardly at all. And I don't get drunk because I'm sick afterwards, really sick. And so if I have a glass or a glass and a half, I don't ever get drunk because I'll end up throwing up before. And then when I start throwing up, then I throw up for fucking 2 days. And so I've never been much into drinking, drugs, never really been involved with any of that stuff because I didn't like the feel of it. And it's the thing about it is, see, alcohol for me is, I will say that, okay, drinking a glass of red wine in my bath with the candles and going inside of myself and doing what I was trained to do shamanically in the bath, okay, that does work. It does have an effect. But pot is great because that's the reason why I have my medical marijuana card, because pot ends up dealing with the stress. I feel less stressed if I smoke pot. Where all the pills that you can take don't have they have an adverse reaction or they don't work at all. And so, when I was younger, I could go through an ounce of pot in a day and a half And fuck, now an ounce will last me 2 months, you know, because I hardly ever smoke anymore. I'm just, plus, you can't when I'm trying to sew, you can't get high and sew at the same time, you know? And, but the stress level lately has been horrid. It has, you know? They're attacking me left and right. The stuff that I have to go through in town, because people, they're just convincing people that I'm crazy, you know? But that's why I argue, because I can't really, how can you argue with the ignorant? They will tell me that they know absolutely nothing about what I'm involved with and don't want to know, and yet they have all kinds of opinions about it. And then they get upset when that's ignorant, you know? But them going to my publisher and doing all that shit with the posters, and I guess it wasn't even all on her floor, they flung them in the fucking hallway. So it was impossible to miss. And it scared her, you know? But then she knows, she remembered the dude from the next millennium. I was supposed to have a sale there. I was supposed to do a book opening there. And the night before I was supposed to do the book opening, when everyone in town knew about it, and I was supposed to do a book opening, he takes his garbage out at 5:30 in the morning, and some dude was waiting for him because he takes his garbage out, and this dude comes up to him and says, you know, it would be terrible if someone raped your wife and burned your house down. Maybe you should rethink selling David Shurter's book in your shop. And the reason why I know is because he called me the next morning, brought me in, told me about it, and he told everybody about it. Everyone knows. People in town knew about it because he told everyone. You know, it wasn't a secret. I didn't have the book opening, but people knew why I didn't have the book opening. And so that's the kind of shit I've had to go through. You know, they weren't so lucky. He wasn't so lucky because everyone else got a cease and desist letter. Like I said, the cupcake ladies got a cease and desist letter. And so some dude was just sitting outside of his house waiting for him to come outside. That's the kind of weird ass shit they have always done. And that was back in 2013? I published the book in 2012. So it was right around 2012, 2013 that happened. And so the shit that I talk about now, fuck. And the stuff that's hitting me in my house, I don't know exactly where it is. I just know that it's close. Because if I leave my house, going around town, it still affects me. But if I leave, especially when I was in Owen's car, that was the best thing about being in Owen's car, is that I never heard anything. I could go spend the day with Owen and it wouldn't bother me at all, you know? As far as the patents go, as far as this directed energy weapon, the United States owns all of it. Go listen to my interview with Spence Everson. It's at the very beginning of this channel. Spence Everson. That's all we talked about was the directed energy weapons. He talks about the patents, the United States, the history, you know. The fact that people think that the Havana syndrome is caused by Voldemort and his Death Eaters and their magic wands shows how absolutely ignorant they all are. It's not being done by magic. And if you actually believe, yes, it's your neighbors, I believe that it's boots in the ground. What they do is they hire fucking meth heads and fucking losers. You know? That's the reason why I think they're way more connected to the services that offer the poor stuff in town. I think there's a connection there because I know there's a drug operation in town. And so I'm wondering if that's not how they're starting to identify people, because there all seems to be this coordinated thing going on in town. That's why I'm fighting so hard in the town, because they don't give a shit about the gas station in Erling. They don't want their fucking drug operation figured out. That's what they're hiding. But then you have Lucien Greaves and Michael Aquino and the Dead Isaac Kappy Club fighting over that gas station because the gas station leads to them. That's the reason why, with all of this, for better or worse, heaven has had put me in the front row seat. I'm watching all this shit happen. And as such, I'm just telling everybody, you can all go look. The house across the street always changes residents. I would tell you that if it's a constant thing with you, it probably isn't there. Because they can go pay people any amount of money they want to actually do this. A lot of us are in the front row of this blasting. We're not the only ones, and we're not the first. We're in a long ass group of people that they have brought down with this shit. Because the shit they're able to do with this sound and this microwave bullshit, I know it causes heart attacks and strokes. I know it causes heart attacks and strokes. That's what it does. Just like the little heart attack gun. It causes heart attacks and strokes, especially if you're inclined to that. I don't know why they're doing it to you. I don't know why. But the fact is that they are. And what I would tell you is, what is God and heaven asking from you? Because they don't only do it to threats. So why are they threatened by you? What about you are they wanting to fuck up? Now, some of the people, I'm sure, is just experimentation. They're just, Aaron Alexis. Remember Aaron Alexis in 2012? Said that he was being inundated with these fucking weapons and that they were driving him crazy. He's known as the shipyard shooter, and he carved ELF on the fucking shotgun, whatever the fuck he used to kill. It was 9 or 12 people in a shipyard. And the reason why he carved ELF on his weapon is because it stands for electro low frequency. He said he was being driven crazy. That's just it. There's something about you that they see that you don't. And what ends up happening, I think that the worst thing that they've done to us as humanity is that they've made you all believe that you're so much more worthless than what you really are. That you don't have the abilities. And I'm not talking an ego thing of, be all that you can be and you can, all of that. I'm just saying that God is inside of us and you can connect with God. But the only way to draw it out is to believe in the divinity within yourselves. And that's what they've killed. Nobody believes it. We don't believe in the divinity that heaven could actually work through us as us. And we're always looking at other people, and it's always them. And it's always the wrong people. Who they have you looking at are not only people who are not being led by God, but are the antithesis of being led by God. Fill your hearts with love and do everything you can to love all you can. The thing about sleeping north is that I've heard that it's the poles. But right now it doesn't. That's the reason why everything is topsy-turvy, because the poles are getting ready to switch. And so what used to be, it's just one of those things, I feel like I'm rambling, because I just keep saying the same shit over and over and over. But Michael Aquino, I'm more than aware of you now. And that's what heaven wanted me to be, so that I could open doors, which I already have. You can't beat what's coming for you. You can't beat the other side. You can't beat heaven. You sure as fuck can't beat the dark. And the dark has given your group so much. And now it's time to pay the piper. And I know that you don't like that. And it doesn't make any fucking difference. You know? Your little attitudes, your opinions, your what you think, what you want is insignificant, doesn't make a difference at all. And that's for all of us. Fill your hearts with love. Do what we were commanded to do. They've convinced you, like I said in the last one, that Jesus Christ came with the blank check. And every fucking nasty thing you want to do, every sin you want to commit, don't worry about it, because it's all forgiven. Jesus Christ died for our sins. So nothing you do whatever you want. And do you see how that is not correct? Because it's not correct. And we were told we will be obedient and do what the fuck we're told to do, or there will be consequences. And none of that has changed. That has not changed. And hard days are ahead of us. Holding to the faith. See, I'm not a big one on talking to the owl, because it reminds me of that. And really, with the Bohemian Grove, it wasn't even the owl that I remembered the most. That's not the thing that stands out. That actually is kind of an interesting thing to look at. It's that fucking swamp that's in front of it that fucking stinks. You know? Right. Do whatever you want, and you'll get the answer, I never knew you. Because that's what will happen. And you don't want to find yourselves in the dark. Aquino, there's no enjoy it. You don't have time. Your whole group. Lucien Greaves, I bet he is shitting his pants right now. They're calling him out. I bet he is shitting his pants. And the sad part about it is, Lucien Greaves, if Michael Aquino thinks that sacrificing your dumb ass and throwing you under the bus will save his stupid ass, consider yourself thrown under the bus, because your side eats their own. And now none of you, and the one thing that is true for all of you is that you all know you can't trust each other. That's how it's going to work. And now it's all getting to the point where you don't have a fucking clue what's out there and who you can trust and who you can't. And because of that, all you know is that you can't trust anybody. Your own paranoia is going to get the best of you. Heaven is using your own shit against you. And that's how it's going to work. It's not me that you need to be afraid of. It's who you look at every time you look in a mirror. That's who you need to be afraid of. And you're going to do shit that's going to fuck you up every time. I just guarantee it. I'm not a soothsayer, but just guess. You know? I love the way you say it. It makes me laugh every time. Say what? See, I never know what I'm saying. It's hard to be a badass with a pair of Depends, Dougie. That's true. Sorry. Talk about making someone laugh. They just can't beat what's coming for them. And they just can't. And they're afraid. You know, obviously they're afraid. The government dude is now gone, but I have weird ass people. And what they did in front of my house this morning, when you consider the fact that there's no sign in front of my house anymore, I took that sign down. because I was sick of looking at it. I was sick of looking at it. And I'm tired of being entertainment for a bunch of ignoramuses who don't pay attention anyway. They don't, they, you know, the purple rogue has an aura that is obviously purple, and he says good shit, wise words. I don't fear the Lord, period. Exactly. That is what we have lost, is fear of God is only sensible because we are to do what we are told or face the consequences. And we have example after example after example after example of how bad those consequences can be when we don't follow it. And you can bitch about being forced to be obedient all you want. It won't make any difference. We are to be obedient. And what are we asked? Fill your hearts with love and care about everyone around you. I don't understand the argument against that, but knock yourselves out. But when you end up where I'm telling you you're going to end up, you only have yourselves to blame. And again, 4 fucking little words. I told you so. 4 words. That's all I need this group to remember. Aquino, 4 words. Doug Mesner, the Slime King, the Dead Isaac Kappy Club. The Purple Rogue, as I call him, God. He saves my ass all the time. God saves my, that God, heaven is the whole reason why I'm here. God, heaven is the only reason I am here. Because they have tried to take me out over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And the only explanation as to why I'm still here and able to do what I do is because of heaven. I can't take responsibility for it. I can't take any responsibility for it. I just do what I am told. And like I've said in this video alone, shamanically, what heaven has asked me to be is I am a doorman. I open doors. That's what I've ended up doing for the most part. Open the door and help the fallen get back into heaven. Open the door and let their victims get to them. Open the door and let heaven come in here. And heaven is here, even with all the shit that's going on. If you are aware, there is still reason for hope. More so now than I've ever experienced. I have more hope now when everything is fucking falling down around us than I've had in the past, for years. I have more hope now. Heaven is answering its promises. And I don't know. Boundaries make me feel safe. That's why I like boundaries. I like knowing what I can do and what I shouldn't do. I like boundaries. It gives me a sense of, and I know that in my life, the only thing that I can control is myself. That's the only thing I can control. Purple is a royal color. Purple is the color that I associate with the Most High in heaven. Purple. Purple to indigo. And white light, isn't white light all the colors combined make white? What makes black is the absence of all color. And so do your best to find the divinity within yourselves. Trust in yourselves enough to think that God could work through you as you to help others. Just remember that. I have a video on colors of signatures. Blue is commerce, red is blood, red is definitely blood, green is peace. I've always found green is growth. It's, that's why I have so many plants, because it's the, love conquers all. It does. Within ourselves. And that's the only thing that matters. In this life, That's the only thing that really matters, is that you let yourself use love to conquer all. Gold ink is the highest ink color for security. I like gold too. I like gold. I like yellow. My basement that I turned into my studio and my family room, and there's a bed down there that I sleep in. Is all yellow because I find yellow to be happy. You know. Just found out the oldest pigment found was a bacteria. It's hot pink. Funny. Pink is probably not my most favorite color. I just see colors when I close my eyes. I definitely see things in color, and I dream in color. I guess some people don't dream in color. I don't know how that... I don't see anything monochrome anymore. I've never really seen anything monochrome. And so that's the coolest thing about life, is that it's just a zillion colors. And when I dream, it's in color. Do you guys dream in color, or is that weird? You know, I thought everybody dreamt in color. Vivid colors. But I'm also, I don't dream at all. When I'm journeying a lot, I don't often dream. I had a strange dream that I used lucid dreaming in the dream because I realized this is not happening. I would never do this. I would never be in this situation in real life. So in the dream, I realized that this nightmare that was happening was a dream. It wasn't real, because it wouldn't happen in this, the things that I was choosing to do were things that I would never choose to do consciously with full intent, ever, and usually a lot of the stuff that I have, I'm always full intent, a lot of people, you ask them why they do what they do, and they'll tell you, I don't know, I just did, Me, I can tell you, I did this because of this, because I'm very focused on, and it's not that I'm focused on myself, that I'm all that, it's just the opposite, I'm afraid of fucking up so much that I'm ultra critical with myself. I dream in color, but when I was in a lot of pain, my dreams changed to black and white. Very disturbing. Oh, I'm so sorry. Thank God I'm better now. I'm glad you're better. I say, for me, in my experience, there are 3 types of dreams. There are dreams that your brain is just processing stuff. And like what Scrooge says, you can be a bit of undigested beef or some gravy. Then there's other dreams where you're learning about yourself, you're processing through the day. You just, it's actually experiences. But then there's journey dreams. And journey dreams is when you dream, your soul leaves and you're actually someplace else that feels very real. And those are usually the dreams that you learn the most about what you're supposed to do in life, But God and heaven, the whole history of mankind and God is through visions and dreams. That's the reason why I do shamanic work, because all shamanic, listening to a beat of a drum, all you're doing is experiencing a waking dream. Your brain is tricked at thinking that it's asleep, and you're conscious, so you're able to just, The other side has a geography just like this side. It does have a geography just like this side. It's not exactly like this side, but, and the thing about the other side is that it's more real. When you get comfortable with the other side, it actually is real. None of this is real. That's why I say this is kind of a matrix. It's a spiritual matrix. We're not connected to computers. It's a spiritual matrix, because nothing here is real. Time destroys everything. Nothing is real here. And I know my body is flawed, but I really don't want to leave it. But it's incredible to learn. The whole thing about it is that when you go to the other side, this is, in my opinion, being familiar with both sides, this place is a fucking trash pit. The fact that these dumbasses want to live forever on this side, I don't get it. I just simply do not get it. And we've all been to the other side. Exactly. Where do you think you go? Where do you think your soul originates from? The other side. People do forget. But it doesn't make it any less real. Just because you're ignorant to it doesn't make it any less real. That's where we were before we were born. That's where we go back to when we die, is the other side. You know, the veil that is between the two sides. And so, and living here forever, oh my God, what a fucking nightmare. I don't get it. I don't get it. All these people who want to be fucking vampires and live forever, I don't get it. You know? Because the other side is just so much more. In so many ways, so much more. You know? That's why I can do what I do down here. Because I realize that in the end, I'm just going to go back, and I'm going to go back home. I'm not home here. Yes, I live here. You know, I exist right here. You know, I'm doing what I'm doing, and I love the house that I live in and all that. But this side has never been home, ever. You know? Guys are, the way women get treated, I make people laugh all the time because I tell people, of course, that I don't want all you women barefoot, pregnant, and in the kitchen. Who would I go shopping with? And I like being in the kitchen, and I don't mind doing my own dishes. And barefoot, I hate to be barefoot. I want to wear shoes. I like shoes. Of course I like shoes. I'm gay. I like shoes and belts and hats, obviously, and bow ties, you know? Subjugating women has never been an interest in mine, but I come from a family of strong women. My family, despite what my dad was involved with, my family has always been matriarchal, not patriarchal. And so I come from a long line of strong women. So that's the reason why I want to say, see, I know that people like being barefoot. I don't like being barefoot. I don't. And because I don't rarely go barefoot, I have little sensitive feet. But you also have to understand, they used to fucking beat my feet. And that's where I got a lot of the electrical shocks from my feet. So sometimes my feet hurt so bad that it's hard to walk sometimes because it's still, and the older I get, you know, only my feet, nothing else. My hands are fine, everything, but my feet, because that's what they used to, that's what my shit was. When they wanted to hurt me, they would hurt my feet. I've never been a foot person. I have cute feet. I wear sandals that are closed-toed because I do not have cute feet and I don't want people looking at my toenails. And I obviously don't paint. I do stuff on my fingernails, but all it is protector. And I only do protector because otherwise I can rip the shit out of my nails if I don't put protector on it. Hey, Cognitive. I will be sending that out today. I will tell you, I've been hiding at home the last few days. Because of something that we said, I'm pretty sure they're focused on my house right now. And so I'm just, and I'm so sorry. Here I am telling everybody how diligent I am. Thank God I screwed up with cognitive, because I would feel, I mean, at least we have some rapport. I don't seem like a complete asshole, but oh man. Who's blasting us? Well, wherever it's coming from this fucking CIA. And I know we can't talk about the CIA because anyone who talks about the CIA is crazy, and, the CIA is secret. They don't even exist. But fuck. They're doing all kinds of shit. Yeah, well, you guys have your own version of the CIA. MK or MI6 in the UK, they're all connected. It's all the same shit. It's all the same shit. Being run by the people who are really in control. Because when it comes down to Issac Kappy and all of that shit, now I realize Issac Kappy was the one who told me that he had 4 of Michael Aquino's phone numbers and he was harassing the shit out of Michael Aquino. So why I just completely dismissed Michael Aquino's involvement in all of this, but I did, really, I did. Ever since that whole being on his front porch and him not fucking, all he had to do was open the door. What the fuck did he think I was gonna do? But he wouldn't even open the door to me. And I could hear him and Lilith, like I said, in the window. The open window right above my head. I could hear them fucking frantically whispering. It was almost comical. And, see, the UN is all connected to it too. They're all still doing it. Oh yeah, they're fucking blasting the shit out of me. They hate it when I do these. That's the reason why I got dressed up and did one. Because this morning it's been terrible. But I'm sure that they know, because I'm sure my sheriff has already told them that I saw the car outside. They pulled forward and then came all the way back and parked in front of my house and then slowly drove away. This is all kinds of this weird bullshit, I don't think I was supposed to see the dude that scared my neighbor, but I was doing laundry. So, what, I'm not supposed to, what, it's crazy that I look out my fucking windows? I almost do it unconsciously. What the fuck do you have windows for if you don't look out them? Communitarianism, specifically. The Anti-Communitarian Manifesto is interesting. That's from Gov. Gov, you would just be fun to hang out with. In this life or the next, I just hope we're able to break bread, because it would be fun to listen to you. Of course, you would be bored because I just want you to talk all the time, because you just say a lot of shit. Words matter. Words definitely matter. That dude in V for Vengeance, which is one of my favorite movies, by the way. It's a movie that I completely identify with. But words are the way to meaning. And meaning enunciates the truth. So words are the way to truth. To the communitarianists, it's communism with God. Isn't that what we're dealing with? Communitarianism is the third way. They are so warping and discombobulating the word. But it is, like they said at the end, people will call good bad, evil, and they'll call evil good. That's what we're experiencing now. And people think, well, I didn't know the difference. I don't know. I'm not responsible. Yeah, you are. Because when you do the evil shit that you do, you're doing the evil shit that you do That's why you fucking want to hide it. Is because you know. So your intent matters. And you can tell yourself that you're not responsible, that you're not going to be held accountable, that all you're going to have to do is say, it's funny because how many people mistake the words, I'm sorry, for the words abra fucking cadabra. Abracadabra. I'm sorry. Now I've said I'm sorry, so now you can no longer hold me accountable for what I said I'm sorry about. Now you can no longer bring it up. I am no longer responsible for you feeling upset because I said abracadabra. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Those are the words I said, not abracadabra. But abracadabra basically is the same. That's basically what you're saying. And why do I say that? Because words matter. That's the whole thing. That's the reason why I'm not at all interested in the forgiveness or the redemption of these fucking child killers. Couldn't give a fuck less about forgiveness and redemption for these child killers, because they'd only use it to manipulate and discombobulate. That's the reason why what we're headed for, what they're headed for, is accountability and retribution. Because the darkness that has protected them and offered them so much, it's now time to pay the piper. And they don't want to fucking hear that. They don't want to be told. Nobody wants to be fucking given the bill, especially when the bill is exorbitant as it is. They can't even conceptualize how big this bill is. And you can't tell them because they're superior. They know more than everybody else. They're smarter. They're just more, you know? And the only thing that they have more of is a sense of entitlement. That's what they have more of. Because they offer nothing and they take always. And they're going to get what they fucking get. And in the end, like I said, Michael Aquino, 4 little words. I told you so. I told you so. You can't say you weren't told. Accountability is peaceful and beautiful word when you have love and kindness inside. The darkness does not have love and kindness inside of it. And let me tell you, accountability and the retribution that it is about ready to exact is anything other than peaceful. Beautiful in a weird, sick-ass way. It is quite beautiful. Amazing. That would be the word I would use. It's amazing. We reap what we sow, eventually. And trespassing is a sin, no matter what form it may come in. Chaos is quite beautiful. We do not have time for me to get into dark matter. We have to, no. Their whole mantra is bringing order out of chaos. And so heaven is providing them with chaos. They're gods. They're gods. They tell themselves they're gods. They're gods. So heaven is using the sun to burn all their shit away and cause chaos. And because they're gods, they should have no problems fixing everything and bringing order to the chaos. But they don't seem to be able to do that, you know? And it's getting worse, not better. The chaos, it is. Just reread what I could from chat. We have gained Illyrian in the tribe. That's just stellar. Get it? No. No, but then I haven't been reading a lot of the. I've been bad today. I haven't been reading what you guys have been saying. Some of it, you know, chaos is not order and order is not chaos. Exactly. You know, there's no chaos in heaven. There's no chaos in heaven. And it's chaos brings destruction, and in destruction comes a strange sense of order, but it's, you know, but it is now almost 20 to 1, and my dogs, it just dawned on me that I did not feed my dogs before I came on here. And more than that, it is time for me to eat because I am starving. I've been up since 5 o'clock this morning and have not eaten. Managed chaos is not order. Exactly. You know, they ain't gonna bring order to shit. It's great to bring order to chaos when you're in control of the chaos, but the minute you lose control of that chaos, which is usually how it works, because Frankenstein always loses control of his monster, and the monster always fucks his shit up. It's just one of those, you know, a mythos of mankind. And I'm not talking myth, I'm talking mythos. There's a difference. And I am praying. Oh, please pray. Thank you. I will pray before I leave. We come to you, Mother and Father, as your children. Open up our hearts. Let us believe in the divine within ourselves, and let you work through us as you to bring miracles to others. Help us trust in ourselves enough to know that we can be the change we wish to see in the world, that we can fill our hearts with love, no matter how scary or futile it may seem, because faith calls us to be sure of what we hope for and certain of what we do not see. And so we ask that you allow us to pray and know that those prayers are being answered before we even finish the words. And that's the most helpful way. We are very grateful. We are thankful. We know that our brother, your son, Jesus Christ, came and taught us how to live the word. And we couldn't be more grateful. And though it is a challenge, just strengthen all of us. And we say these things lovingly in your son's name, Jesus Christ. Amen. So, surrender to the will of God. That's what I believe. Surrender to the will of heaven. Allow the love inside your heart to affect and change all around you for the better. That's the best way to despite any shit. With that said, the last thing I want to say, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not a soothsayer. And the people that I am fighting are fucking mental. They're goddamn crazy. They're capable of anything. And the lower, the better for them. They're vile pieces of shit, in my opinion. And they're capable of anything. With that said, if anything should happen to me, or I'm not able to do this, or whatever, do not lose faith. Do not lose hope. Heaven is with all of us. And if something happens to me, it is because heaven needs it to happen. Have faith. None of this shit should be about me. None of it. Your faith, your hope, your belief in God, the faith that you have, none of it should be about me. Just like none of this investigation stuff should be about me. And so if something should happen to me, and I don't know, yes, obviously, because I'm bringing it up, I have a concern. Don't let it make you stray from your path. Just don't let it, and realize that in the end, we'll all hook up, only we'll hook up on the other side. It'll be so much better than on this side, And I'm hoping that nothing's going to happen, obviously, Obviously, I'm hoping that, but I'm not guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed. And I only, like all of you, can only see the path right before me. I can't see where I'm headed. I just have to have faith that I'm being directed in the right way. And I think that I have, Thank you, Sarah. She says, I will be sad but grateful you were able to give to the world. That's what I want. I just want you guys to, remember the things that I've said and that it's not about me, If you remember anything, and it's not 4 little words, it's fill your hearts with love and love all that you can. That's just love all that you can. And help, care. And all of this side is shit anyway. It's about ready to get burned out. And it was garbage before. They perverted everything. It's nasty. And what's in front of the faithful is better than you can ever imagine. Because in the new garden, it will be as it was supposed to be. Every breath you take will be joy. Every breath. And there's no separation between heaven and mankind next time. Heaven gets to interact with man. There's no apples. There's no apples. There's no fallen. There's nothing. There is just an eternity of man being loved by God and vice versa. And keep that in mind. Don't stray from the path. It's a narrow path. And it's hard as shit to keep on it because you have people trying to knock you from it left and right. Don't let them. Oh, me too. I hope there's oranges. There better be citrus. It won't be heaven without citrus. I love citrus. Apples are okay, but oranges, grapefruit, lemons, limes, citrus. I love citrus. But with that said, right, very narrow path, but many ways to go about it. Exactly. And I agree with that, Gov. There are many ways. Fill your heart with love, however way you need to fill your heart with love. There are many ways to go about the narrow path. But you have to have focus. That's the biggest thing. Focus. Because you work with intent, whether you're aware of it or not. And when you're working with bad intent, being ignorant to that and not bothering to look at that, just keep this in mind. I'll leave this as an image with all of you. Just realize that physically, when you stick your head in the sand, it automatically sticks your ass in the air. And you can't see behind you when someone does that. So keep that in mind. Stay sharp. Stay focused. Fill your hearts with love. And I'll be talking to you all soon. Cognitive, I'll be getting a hold of you later with the thing. So, and I'll probably talk to you about, I'm open. If you guys need to get a hold of me, david@davidshurter.com. PayPal and Venmo are dshurter. If you like what I'm doing, I'm fucking starving. My book, I sell it for $30. I promise not all, dude, I'll try my damnedest that none of you experience what cognitive has just experienced. But thank you so much for everything. And you guys all like each other too. I know you guys are just all, it just does my heart well that you guys are wishing each other well. Be the change you want to see in the world. And this world needs a whole lot more love, let me tell you. I think we can all agree on that one. So with that said, I gotta go eat. My dogs definitely need to go eat. I'll talk to you guys soon.